Hello, friends. Welcome. Good evening. Welcome to the Monday night um, prepper discussion. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to be taking a little bit of a cue from a book we just completed reviewing. This book, How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It by James Wesley Rawls. Chapter 2 of his book, along with his website, thesurvivalblog.net. I strongly recommend it. Have some fantastic lists. We're going to be talking about the list of lists tonight. And with that, we're going to get into a little bit of food preparation and planning. So we'll be working on this one tonight. Tomorrow night, we're going to be working on the crisis preparedness guide. And we're going to be talking about financial preparedness. Now, so a real quick question I'm going to try to get an answer for. Hello, Utah Mike. Welcome. I'll get everybody welcomed here in just a minute. I am going to need a decision. It turns out that the presidential debate, the only one that has been scheduled, is a week from tomorrow night. And it has been recommended that there will be some people who will be more interested in the presidential debate than in a Tuesday night discussion about the book. So let me know at some point during the evening this evening, and I'll reiterate it later on, whether or not you would rather have the debate or be here with this. So we'll kind of take your cue on that. I was very blessed today. I've been blessed. This is the second time this has happened. I can't tell you how much it means to me. It almost puts tears to my eyes. But I woke up this morning, had another phone call, and it was one of our channel friends, Sue Me, who is on her vacation from Canada. And so she said, hey, I'm staying at a hotel in your town, and where's a good place to eat breakfast? I said, okay, I'll meet you there. So we spent probably 2 or 3 hours together just chatting and getting to know each other a lot better. My wife was unfortunately not feeling too well, so she didn't go with me. Went home, got a hold of the wife. She was feeling a little bit better. We got some medicine in her, and then I took her out. And as it so happens, where we went out to go shopping, we ran into Sue again. So we ended up talking another 45 minutes in the entranceway to this to a Walmart. But it was just fantastic. What a blessing. Anytime I have an opportunity to meet you face to face. And I was so impressed. I told her, look, if anything happens, if it does happen, you and your daughter are welcome down here. We've got the room, we've got the food, we can take care of you. We've got the electricity, we got the water. Don't worry. I know you can't have self-defense items up in Canada. I've got extras. So, just make your way down here. We'll take care of you. We're all in this together. And so it was really great to meet her and to have that conversation. Let's get into welcoming all these fantastic people who are here tonight. Teresa Buchanan, Little Known Prepper. Hello, Tofu. Tammy Harder. A lot of you have come over from Gil's Camp Patton Family Compound, which precedes this one. So I strongly encourage you, if you're a follower of this channel, come an hour early, go visit Gil's Camp Family Patton Compound. I hope I'm getting that right, Gil. The show's for an hour, starts an hour earlier. It goes for an hour and up to this one. Tomorrow night, then Gil's Gray Man Prepping is on for 1 hour prior to us. So you can get a double whammy there, Gil and Lee. And so do Gil at 7 o'clock and Lee at 8. And that is fantastic. Speaking of Gil, hello, Gil. Welcome. And I asked him to please put his link on here. So I'm going to kind of highlight that. So here's a link to his Gray Man Prepping site. Great site. He will be on tomorrow night live at 7 o'clock, and I encourage you to follow him there. He's going to be talking about tomorrow night. That the subject is going to be, what is your biggest fear? Is it the mushroom cloud? Is it EMP? Is it a lockdown? What is the biggest fear? What is it that you are prepping for? And we'll see what we can do there. Utah Mike, good evening. Welcome. Theoxerus, welcome. Good evening. Good to see you as well. I think I said Holly and Little Known Prepper and hello, Tofu. Welcome. Kaylin Strain, another good Don't understand it. That was not the mouse. That was the keyboard, the thing on the keyboard here, the touch screen, and it just took me out. Triple G Farms, good evening. Shenanigans, hello, welcome. Cats in Prepping. And then here, we want you to really, if you would please, everybody, subscribe to this one. He's 80 short of his goal of, so if we can get 80 more people, if you can recommend this one out, share it, get 80 more subscribers. We would like to help him meet his goal so that we can get that. See where we are there. Unfortunately, I have to do something, either the mouse or the keypad, in order to scroll down to see your comments. Otherwise, I would stay where I couldn't answer any of your comments, and I don't think that's a good thing. So I'm going to leave him up here, and let's begin this chat. I want to talk about first. One of the first things we have to take into consideration is how many calories that you require in order to survive or maintain weight or whatever. There, you go to different websites, you're going to get different answers. I've gone to 3 different websites today, and each one has had a totally different answer. The LDS recommend that you have somewhere around LDS planning for a sedentary meal. Doesn't give any age. It says 2,300 calories. I went to another one that said, how many calories do you need? So I plugged in a 72-year-old guy who is 6 feet 1 inch, 190 pounds, and I get moderate activity, moderate exercise. I did that on 2 different calorie recommendations. I ended up, one said 2,500, the Mayo Clinic said 2,800. The Army says 2,200. So, I mean, there's all these different things about how many calories do you really need. It is very, very complex in the sense on what is your condition now? How old are you? How much activity do you do? Do you want to maintain your weight? Are you willing to lose a little bit of weight? But anyhow, I'm going to make a recommendation, and this may seem exaggerated, but your body will absorb what it can, and then you can get rid of the rest. I'm going to recommend that we plan for a male, an adult male, and probably a teenage male as well, around 2,800 grams or calories, 2,800 calories of food per day. Okay, for a female who is working, a lot of standing, food preparation, gardening, wood collection, water collection, all those different things that we're all going to be doing. So I'm going to say that the male and the female probably have the same roles as far as what they'll be doing, collecting wood, collecting water, all that kinds of stuff. We're probably going to be somewhere in the vicinity of around 2,000 to 2,300 calories per day for an adult female. So figure 2,800-ish for a adult male doing the work that'll be required post SHTF, around 2,300 for the female. And so we're going to use those as our planning figures of saying, as we plan for our meals in a post-apocalyptic world, we're going to use the calorie count as one of our primary means of where we are. Shenanigans is saying she needs 1,750. I really don't need the 2,800. I can get by very easily with 2,300. And very happy with that. But I think if we make a plan, it's better to plan over than it is to plan under. Okay. And then you can modify your meals as you see fit based upon the conditions that you're in. Probably the first 3 to 5 weeks of the apocalypse, we're going to be confined inside our home, cooking inside our home, fairly sedentary, while the people around us are, panicking and everything else and doing their thing. So I would say, those first couple of days, probably not going to have that much of a thing. Hello, Tofu. You are absolutely correct. I don't know how teenage boys do it, but yes, they have hollow legs. I have seen Helen's nephew. So these would be her 3 great nephews. I have seen the 3 of them devour an entire turkey by themselves. Now, all 3 of them now are football coaches. They were active football players in high school, but, so now that's, Little on Prepper. I did not know that it was your birthday. Happy birthday. Um, Hope it was a good one. Sorry that I missed it. I wish I had known. Uh, uh, so what I'm recommending, according to Kaylin, is just under the average calorie value of 3 U.S. MREs per day. And the funny thing is, we were given 2 MREs per day. So the third one was supposed to be a Class B meal. So for those of you who don't know, Class A meal, ARATs, they're cooked in a mess hall or dining facility, and you eat it in the mess hall or dining facility. A B ration is that they cook it in the mess hall, put it into what we call mermites. And these are these big metal thermoses, and they have 3 insert trays. So you could put like Salisbury steak and gravy in one, mashed potatoes in another one, and peas in the third. And it's going to keep all that warm while you take it out. And then you're going to serve it in a mess line. And the soldiers will eat out of their mess kits or whatever's provided to them. That's a B ration. Then a C ration, or an MRE, is a pre-prepared, and that's going to be eaten in a combat environment, that basically cooked by the soldier, if you will. It's going to be heating it up, is what we call, rather than cooking. But yeah, so most of those are going to be right around, if I'm not mistaken, Kaylin, I know you know them a lot more about them than I do. I think the average MRE is around 960, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of where their plans are, around 960 grams. I'm sorry, calories per meal. So Holly says she can get by with about 1,700, and let me see. Does that mean you're tall, or what? I don't know. Okay, so let's get into his book. And so some of the things that we want to talk about today. That's that tab right there. So your list of lists should include water, food preparation, your personal list, that's personal hygiene things and stuff like that, first aid and medical list, a chemical nuclear defense list, a biological warfare and pandemic list, gardening list, hygiene sanitation list, hunting, fishing, trapping list, power, lighting, and batteries list, a fuels list, firefighting, tactical living, security, general security, self-defense, bing bang, communications and monitoring, tools, sundries, and survival bookshelf, and barter and charity. So for food, what he's recommending is start by increasing the quantities of canned food that you use on a regular basis. Right now, the reports are that we are seeing a shortage in wheat, and that we are about to start seeing a shortage in meat. So I would say focus on those two. If you plan on having bread and you plan on having meat products, start accumulating those. Now, Keystone has fantastic products as far as canned beef, canned ground beef, turkey, chicken. I have the turkey, I have the ground beef, I have the diced beef. For chicken, I get the Costco canned chicken. It's smaller, but it's pretty good. Kaylin says that some of them are over 1,100 calories. So that's why we get 2,200 calories than other stuff. So get some canned meats, beef stew, chili. There's all kinds of canned meats. Get a lot of canned fish as well. Buy some short-term get-out-of-Dodge foods. Meals ready to eat is what he recommends. You can get other companies' versions of that. Mountain House, Peak Performance, Nutrient Survival, Thrive Life. So all of those have different forms of kind of meals that just add water and cook, or just cook. Build a large supply of wheat, rice, beans, honey, and salt. I have been a strong advocate for the last 20 years of getting number 10 cans of flour, sugar, beans, rice from the LDS Provident Living Store. I believe, now remember, I use this concept of a timeline. So in my timeline, originally I said, SHTF is 25 years from now. So that being the case, I need stuff that's going to last as I accumulate it, last until that 25-year point, and possibly a little bit beyond, depending upon how the things go. I believe now that SHTF is imminent in the very near future. So I'm not concerned about storing stuff in my house for a long period of time until I consume it. I'm going to be consuming stuff fairly quickly here. So I want stuff that's going to have a shelf life of maybe up to 5 years. So that means a lot of it I can either can or I can vacuum seal, whether that be through a what's it called, vacuum seal system, or using oxygen absorbers and the Mylar bags and then heat sealing that. However you're going to do it, you can get it a lot cheaper. And the reason I'm recommending you go cheaper is because the cheaper you go, the more food you can get. So you can get a couple 5-pound bags of flour for the price of one 5-pound can of number 10 can of flour, and then put those in Mylar bags and seal them, and that's going to do you just as well. Now, I don't know. Maybe when you add in the cost of the oxygen absorber and the cost of the Mylar bag, maybe you're just as good with the number 10 cans. But I'm just trying to get you to encourage you to think, what is the most cost-effective and efficient way for me to get as much food as possible in as short a time as possible? Kaylin has some fantastic, every Sunday evening at 7 p.m., she does MRE reviews. She just did a package opening. She received two, what was it? French MREs? I can't remember. Two overseas MREs that she got off eBay. She got those in the mail. She did a package opening on those. And so she'll probably be testing those where you get to watch her taste test those on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. Spam is a fantastic, as a matter of fact, in my last Prepper Pantry haul, I showed you that they had a bulgogi version of Spam. So when I went to the Walmart today, I wanted to pick up a couple more cans. Gone. Boom. Evidently, there's a lot of people who like bulgogis. So that Korean barbecue flavored Spam is gone. Just not there anymore. Let me see. Spanish rations. Okay. I know it was foreign, but Spanish rations. Thank you, Kaylin. So then he says, build a large supply of wheat, rice, beans, honey, and salt. Everything you do in prepping has an advantage and a disadvantage. Everything. And I strongly encourage you to take a look at the advantage of each item and the disadvantage of each item. So when we say store a 5-pound bag of pinto beans, okay, the advantage is that you have very little space that's occupied for those 5 pounds. They store for a very long time, and it's great to have. You can portion it out and prepare it as needed. Disadvantage, you're going to need a lot of water. You have to soak them the night before. You're going to have water to boil them, and you're going to have a lot of heat source. Typically, for one batch of pinto beans, it's going to take, after you soak them overnight, 2 to 3 hours of simmering in order to get them to where they're edible. So you've got to have that fuel, whatever fuel it is, whether it be butane, propane, alcohol for a Trangia stove, solid fuel, charcoal briquettes, wood, whatever. It requires fuel that you don't require with the canned stuff. So, that's why you want to have a mixture of both cans and dried goods, because each has its advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantage to the the advantage to the canned stuff, it's got the liquid in it. It's pre-cooked. You can eat it straight out of the can. You don't have to warm it. So you're saving an awful lot of fuel that you can use for other things. Disadvantages, it's heavier, and it also occupies more space than does the bulk item. So, everything, figure out what's right for you. I'm going to say that I am probably 40% canned and 60% freeze-dried or dehydrated. But I also have, like underneath me here, if I could show you underneath this Ekbont group, I've got 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 4, and 5. I've got 14 cases of water that I'm sitting on top of here, on underneath the Ekmont grouper here. So that's in addition to my 500-gallon rain catchment system out in the backyard, and other things I have in other parts of the house. So you make sure you have that water. Earlier this evening, we were talking about water on Gil's channel, and he said, remember, you need 1 gallon per person per day for your drinking water purposes. I'm going to say plan on somewhere around 2 to 3 gallons a day. Yes, Holly, I did get your email. I responded to it. Did you get my response? I did forward it on to Mr. Grammer. So hopefully we'll have that to you here in the very near future. So yes, I did find your email. For some reason, it went into my junk folder. I got it. I retrieved it out of there. I forwarded it to Mr. Grammer, and then I replied to you at the same time. So hopefully you'll see that I replied and said, yeah, I found it, and it has been forwarded. Holly won Thursday night. We did our book review with Mr. Grammer, John Grammer, his book 2 of his series. And so he gave away an autographed pair of his books, and Holly was the winner for that. So congratulations on that, Holly. So Utah Mike says he stored canned beans for the first 3 probably months, and dried after that. That's so what I just, let me see if I'm interpreting this correctly. You're planning for the first 3 months to eat primarily out of cans, so that you have a little bit of odor discipline, light discipline, noise discipline. You're eating inside. You don't want the mass people to know what you're eating, which is a very good concept. And then after month 3 plus 1, then you're going to go to where you're preparing the stuff that you've stored that you have a lot more of. And that's going to be soaking them overnight and cooking them, etc. Very good thought process. I like that. I happen to have the same process, the same thought process. I guess that's why I think it's so good, is because it's very parallel to mine. So yes, absolutely. Simon Templar, good evening. Welcome. Good to see you. Let me see. Yeah, Tammy let me know that there were some things that went on between her great uncle and Hormel via email. Caitlin's giving you some good advice on how to store things for long-term storage. Shenanigans does a lot of dehydrating, which is fantastic. Yes, I agree, Simon. I think that before you can go 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. So yes, I agree. I think that water is even a higher priority than food. We're just kind of taking it in the order of the book here. Okay, great, Holly. Just rest assured, it has been forwarded. So, Simon, that's a good question. I will tell you that Tabasco sauce in a small bottle was put in the MREs. I've had some of it that's 12, 15 years old, and it's fine. I think that's because it's a fermentation process that makes it hot, and that fermentation process kind of makes sure that it's pure enough to where it can stay for a long time in a jar. Oh, really? Well, thank you. I hope that's good. Let me see. Now, Shenanigans says has a gosh. I clicked on Shenanigans and went somewhere else. Shenanigans said that she had the opposite experience. It was bad after 3 years. I've had it 12 years, and it was good. So, but then again, this is a guy who lived on MREs. So, my definition of good and bad versus other people's definitions of good and bad might be slightly different. So please understand that. Well, we'll let you catch your breath if you've been running there, Gil. Welcome back. I think it was to get some eggs, but I'm not sure. So yeah, and Gil is, I don't know, we keep getting these comments, and so when I click on something, it goes up, and I click on the next one after it. Gil points out a very good fact. That is that it's got an aging process of 15 to 30 years before it even gets into the bottle. So yeah, it's an aged thing that happens. I wish they would have green Tabasco sauce. I love the green Tabasco sauce, which is based off of jalapeno peppers. So salsa verde, basically. So it says rotate your storage food consistently using the first in, first out method. FIFO, that's very true. That's why I recommend, and let me use a graphic here. So if you have gosh, I'm going to use my makeshift mouse pad here. If this is your room, okay, if you put your shelves like this against the wall, it becomes very difficult to put your newest on the back. So whenever possible, put your shelves against the wall like this. That way you can feed your bad this way and push the oldest towards the front. And so, I'm sorry, bad, your newest. So if you put your newest in here, you push your oldest forward and you're drawing from this side, then you always have your oldest coming out first. I use a method where I say that your best friend is a Sharpie, a bold Sharpie. And it's over there with my stuff I just bought. But I use the big, bold Sharpies, and then I write the month that I purchased it. I know a lot of people disagree with that. They want to put the month that it expires. The problem is there's a lot of stuff that does not have expiration dates on it. Rice, pinto beans, lima beans, red beans, all these different things. They don't have expiration dates on them, okay? Spaghetti, other pastas. So what I know is if I am consistent and always write the date I purchase it or the month and year that I purchase it on that product, then I can always, and I'm putting them in my FIFO rotation, I can always look at the can and say, or the box or whatever, and say, this date precedes the date behind it, therefore I want to use this one first. So it doesn't matter whether you do it by the expiration date or by the purchase date, as long as you know the order in which you're going to take them. So I always have the oldest can is always to the front of my shelving, and it's the one I'm going to grab next to use. And then everything moves forward after I pull it off. So that's that. Let me see. Oh, wow. I don't have space in my fridge, but yeah, that's a good idea. I think the recommendation is 60 degrees, and most fridges are just under 40 degrees. But, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's definitely going to prolong its life. So see, Shenanigans disagrees, does it a different way. She does it by the expiration date. What is the expiration date for rice? Tell me where the expiration date for rice is on the on the package. And the same thing with coffee or tea or sugar. They don't have expiration dates. So that's why I wanted just one consistent methodology. And my methodology is the day I purchase it. So that way, everything, regardless of whether it has an expiration date on it or not, everything gets dated so that I know which is oldest and which is newest. Okay, so I want to show you a couple things here. Let me see. Navajo traditional teachings. I can delete that. Revelaciones Marianas. Atención, preparen cuanto necesitan. I can get rid of that. And Frontier Prepper says excuses won't save you. I can get rid of that. So what I want to do is I want to share screen. So we're going to present and share screen. So if I were to tell you to concentrate on something right now, I would first take a look at the LDS recommendations, if I can find it here. Calorie calculator. Where is my LDS? Here it is. Member Prep Manual. I will tell you probably, and you can, and I'm going to put the link on here for you. Probably one of the best preparedness guides that you're going to find is the preparedness guide that's prepared by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They've been doing this a very, very long time. And so they have a lot of great information. So they have a list here, and I'm going to put the link to this down below so that you can come back tomorrow and find this. It's actually what is it? Let me see how many pages it is. It is 222 pages long, and this is on page 25. So, you can copy it. There's some religious items in it. You don't have to read those if you don't want to. That's fine. I can understand that. But there is a lot of fantastic preparedness information in this document that I recommend you take a look at. So here they're talking about 20 pounds of meats per person per year. So this is a 1 year supply of food. So 20 pounds per person, that's 20 into 365. Probably do 160 into 365. So they're probably looking at about 4 ounces of meat every other or every third day, a quarter pound of meat. So that's not very much. I would probably triple this. They are talking about, come on, mouse, cooperate with me. And I just put in brand new batteries too. Auxiliary foods over here to the right, baking powder, baking soda, cake mixes, calcium supplements, all kinds of different supplements, cornstarch, things like that. These are all different ideas for you. These are all the different types of meats over here on the left that you can consider adding to your pantry. Then we have fruits and vegetables. They recommend 90 pounds of dried fruits and vegetables, 370 quarts of canned per person, and 370 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables per person. So I will tell you, this is voluminous when you take a look at it, what they require or what they recommend for a person. Now, one of the things I do want to point out is anything you see highlighted, like up here on the top left, the apple 2-pound can, these are the items that are available at their Provident Living store. So if you go to LDS Provident Living, find a center near me, then you'll find one of the 48 centers that they have. We're very lucky to have one here in Round Rock. And so it's open on Saturday mornings and Tuesday afternoons. And I've been able to amass quite a large supply of prepping items from their store. As a matter of fact, there's an LDS Facebook channel, LDS Preparedness Facebook channel. They let me on. They're not there. They haven't apostolized to me or anything else. We don't discuss religion. We just discuss what are we going to do as far as prepping. There is a channel they have called Avow, a voice out of the wilderness. And it's basically talking about preparedness and stuff like that. Now that's by subscription. But I mean, they have all kinds of great information here. So spices, condiments, all the things, sugars, all the things that you should consider having in your preparedness pantry so that you can have something of value for you. Let me see if I can catch up with comments here. I got to catch up here because there we go. So Snapple has no expiration date. I left canned goods here in West Virginia in 2021. We're eating them now. I'm still fine. Yeah. They have opened canned goods that sank on a riverboat, the paddle wheel riverboat in the Mississippi during the Civil War. Opened those up and they were still edible. And the cans didn't rust. So that's something. So Holly freezes rice, dry beans, and pasta. Yes, good idea because you want to get rid of any larvae that may be in that. So freezing it for 3 days is fantastic. You can do that before. So for example, I do vacuum sealing of most of my items when I get them. So what I'll do is I'll vacuum seal them first because that actually reduces the size and I can get more in the freezer to do it that way. I gave a presentation, today's Monday, last night, a 2-hour presentation on food storage and everything else to a preparedness group over in Cedar Park. And, that was one of the questions. I took all kinds of water bottles and 3-liter Coke bottles and everything else. I think I showed my vacuum sealing system. You put a pinhole in the top of a Coke screw-on Coke bottle cap, and it has a tab, a little flap that goes on top of it. Then you have a pump. The pump sucks the air out, and as it sucks it out, the tab lifts up. Then once you release that pressure, the tab falls down because it's vacuum, so it's sucking that tab in. And then when you want to open it, you just lift that tab up and release and put some air in there. But that's a really good vacuum seal process for 2-liter and 3-liter soda bottles. So all of my rice, beans, things like that, powders for long-term storage, exception of the bags of flour and a bag of flour, bag of cornmeal, bag of sugar. I will just put those directly into a 1-gallon bag for vacuum sealing, and I'll vacuum seal it that way, and then freeze them. But everything else I put into macaroni, spaghetti, you name it. It goes into a 3-liter or a 2-liter Coke bottle. Let me check here. Welcome, Amanda Sue. Good to see you. I don't know. Gil would know. This is a question that Gil would probably be an expert in. He's our resident homesteader type of a person who has really good information on this. Let me see. I'm reading through the comments now. I'm going to apply a rotate. I'm going to not only rotate stock in my pantry, I'm going to start writing on things with permanent marker in large print to see what I have. Some things that are really miserable to see on certain packages. Absolutely. So one of the things that I have done is I buy those labels, for like file folders and things like that. And as a matter of fact, here's my solar box. I'm trying to get it good enough to where I can take my Jackery unit out back and see how long, and do a video on how long does it take 200 watt panels to power up a 1 kilowatt battery for my Jackery 1000, and do a video on that for y'all. So I'm waiting for the sunlight to come. I love the rain. It's maybe one of these years it'll get us out of drought conditions. But right now, I need to get this video done. But anyhow, so these are my storage boxes. So see, I use these labels that I get, for file folders and stuff like that. And I'll put what this is so that I can stack them and I can see what I want. I also put it on the lid so that if I have 2 or 3 open at the same time, I can very easily find the right lid for the right container. But this is, I think I did a video here shortly, showed you some of the different smaller solar things. This is also all of my chargers and connector wires and all that kinds of stuff for my Jackery system. So I recommend that on things that you can't write directly on, put a label on it. And even on some things where I could write directly on it, like all of my Coke bottles, the reason I put a label on it is that way I can reuse it. Because the first time you write on it, if you don't, you may write on it too big, but if you put a label on it, write on the label, then you know that a replacement label can always be put on top of it. And that's going to help you with that. So let me see. Oh, hello, Boucher Prepper. I was just thinking about you today. I was wondering, I wonder what happened to you. I haven't seen you. We miss you. And gosh, I wish you'd put out some more of your fantastic videos. Boucher Prepper is a longtime friend of the channel. She was one of my first subscribers. Just a wonderful lady from Louisiana. Great cooking ideas, I tell you what. And so she's really great. She has some fantastic videos. I am happy to see you back, Boucher Prepper. I don't know why I was thinking about you today, but I was. I just said, Helen and I were talking, especially after meeting Sue Me, who came here to visit today. I said, gosh, I wonder how Boucher is doing. And there you are. Things can happen. Things can happen. You can will things to happen. And I think that's the reason you're here, is because I was thinking so hard about you today. So I hope you felt the vibes looking for you. So Utah Mike says he's the only house on his block that has a garden. So that's another part of this overall food preparation and food planning, is you've got that first part, where you want to be kind of clandestine, the fact that you're eating while others around you aren't. Then you want to be, okay, we can eat the stuff I have stored, but the stuff you have stored is not going to last forever. So you're going to have to find some way of sustaining it. And so that way of sustaining it is going to be hunting, fishing, foraging, trapping, and gardening and farming. And now, I recommend you start doing it as soon as possible. There are plants that you can get into the ground right now. I took that into my prepper room. I have a binder, my prepping binder, and in it I have what plants to plant what month here in Texas for the best product and everything else. One of my favorite stories is Eric of Epic Gardening, EPIC Gardening. He's in San Diego, California. He dedicated his backyard in San Diego to wheat one summer, and growing his entire backyard full of wheat. When he harvested it, he had enough wheat for 1.5 loaves of bread. So imagine, it took him 5 months to grow that wheat to get 1.5 loaves of bread. So now that gives you an idea of how much you need to garden in order to sustain a family. Your backyard is not going to do it. Your front yard is not going to do it. You're going to have to be very intensive in how you garden in order to feed your family. Same thing with hunting and fishing. So the standard ways of fishing, standing on the bank with a bait cast reel, and do you hear that? Rain. Oh my gosh, rain's hitting the windows. Rain in Central Texas. Can you believe? So I've got Bouger Pepper and rain, two great things in the same day, and visited by Sumi this morning. 3 great things all in one day. Boy, am I blessed. So we've got, where was I? So fishing is going to be a lot more tedious than what we think it is. It's not going to be just standing there with a reel. That's going to be your relaxation. Hunting. If you have not, if you don't know how to hunt, you don't know how to field dress, you don't know how to butcher, that's something you need to learn right now. At least get a book so you know what you're doing, and don't waste the meat that will be there. Same thing with fishing. Know how to gut a fish, know how to fillet it, know how to cook it, all those different kinds of things. So gardening, fishing, we may even be almost in that cycle where it's almost too late to learn because you're going to need it so quickly. Yes, so Fresnel lenses help with starting a fire. Absolutely. The officer is talking about using out of date. So most of the products that you're going to find, what they say on them is it doesn't say expires. What they say is best buy. So what they're talking about is the color, the taste, and the nutrients are going to be best by that date, and then it's going to start to degrade over time. So it may lose some taste, it may lose some color, it may lose some of its minerals, but most of them are still going to be edible for quite a while after the expiration date. Some of them can turn toxic. I would be very careful of some of the more acidic ones. Like I said, I've had 2 items explode in the cans in my pantry. One of them was green chilies, and the other one was mandarin oranges. So I tried mandarin oranges the second time, and they did it a second time. So I don't store mandarin oranges at all. And I'm looking for some freeze-dried oranges. I have not yet been able to find freeze-dried oranges. But anyhow, they're very easy, Holly. My biggest complaint about seal-a-meal vacuum seal systems is trying to guess the proper length. So I use the adjustable size bags, make my own size. And so sometimes I cut it too short and I can't get it in there where it's going to get a good suck the air out. And then in order to compensate for that, sometimes I over cut the length, and then I have all this wasted material, and it's not inexpensive. I've got to admit that. So, trying to get the exact right amount of the bag is one of the biggest challenges that I have. Thank you, Little Lone Prepper. I appreciate that. Yeah, she has a fantastic channel. Let me see here. Wheat products, if you don't store them correctly, can go rancid after about 2 years. I would say that if you keep them vacuum sealed and in a cool area, a cool, dark area, you might be able to expand that up to 5 years. If you get them in the vacuum sealed, dry number 10 cans, there are two different kinds of noodles that you can get from the LDS Provident Living Center. You can also get them from some of the other major suppliers, macaroni noodles and spaghetti noodles. Both of those have a shelf life if they're kept at 60 below 70 degrees. You don't expose them to excessive heat. They can last up to 25 years. So yes, depends on how you store them. So almost everything we do has that caveat. It depends. Okay. I do want to show you one or two other things. So I do want to show you this calorie calculator that I found, two of them. So this is the Mayo Clinic. So this is when I put in my age, 72, 6 feet, 190 pounds. I exercise. I call it light exercise. I do 1 hour of exercise 5 days a week, but it's not really strenuous exercise. I do 5-pound weights, several repetitions, and I work with kinesthetic bands. Tomorrow we focus on stability and endurance. So we do different things. So I'm not sweating when I finish my exercises, but I do an hour a day. So at the end of that, I said I'm kind of a light exerciser. So I said, light exercise, 72 years old, 6 feet tall, 190 pounds. Then what Mayo Clinic says is, in order to just maintain my weight, I need 2,200 calories per day. Okay. Now, I did another one. Come on, cooperate with me here. Share screen. Yes. So the other one I did is this one here. This is another hospital. And so I'll show you. I'm putting in my age of 72. I'm putting in my age of 72, male, 6 feet, 0 inches. I put in 195. It's actually 190. And then I do light exercise 1 to 3 times a week, which is, the next one up is heavy exercise. So I do a calculate on that. And it says, just to maintain my weight, I need about the same thing, 2,300 calories a day. Okay. So, which is basically what the LDS Provident Living Center says for everybody. Now, I want to go back here real quick, and let's do this for basically the same thing, but let's change the age here to 35. Okay. So now I'm doing 35 years old, 6 feet, 190 pounds. And then we're going to say that they do heavy exercise 3 to 4 times a week. So this is going to be one of our primary workers in a post-apocalyptic world. Okay. So now when we calculate that, it says that they're going to need around 2,800 just to maintain their weight. Okay. And so then they're going to have mild weight loss at 2,600. So, just something that you might want to keep in mind when we're talking about that. So what do I recommend? Well, I recommend right now, just focus on getting your canned goods, your bulk storage items, wheat, especially since there's a shortage of it. I recommend that you get some things in powdered form, dehydrated, or freeze-dried. What do I recommend you focus on getting dehydrated or freeze-dried? You can get most of your meats, especially if you go to Keystone, you can get most of your meats in a canned form. The advantage to Keystone ground beef over Mountain House or Thrive Life or Algerson Farms freeze-dried ground beef is when you reconstitute the cooked freeze-dried ground beef that's available from many of the major manufacturers, you can't reassemble that into a patty. You can't assemble it into like a meatloaf. Keystone is raw, so you can do that with it, okay? So that's one of the advantages of Keystone. Now, it's also heavier. It's also bulkier. So, remember, there's always advantages and disadvantages. I would say focus on getting most of your meats primarily canned. Take a look at your dairy products and your egg products. Then those are things you definitely want to get powdered in some form fashion, okay? So cheese products, freeze-dried cheese, and you also want eggs. So dairy, which is going to be your cheeses and your milks, your eggs. Those are the powdered things you definitely want to concentrate on getting in your pantry. The rest of it, don't worry about getting freeze-dried fruits and vegetables unless it's a really good sale. Right now, there's a really good sale on mixed vegetables, stew vegetables with Algerson Farms. It's 50% off on Amazon. I'll put the link in there tonight or tomorrow morning for that, which is really great. You get 34 servings out of it, and it's for like $19. So really, really good deal. That would be equivalent of about 10 cans of veg oil. I'm going to put in a couple other links. I'll put in a link for my Thrive Life, and I want to show you what we have going on there this month. If I can find it, US September. So these are the specials that we have going on with Thrive Life if you want to look at doing freeze-dried foods. So let me go up here where I can kind of use my cursor a little bit. Calorie calculator. Where did I put it? Member prep manual. No, that's up here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so September specials pantry can pack, significant savings, 25% off. The fruit and veggie family can pack, 25% off. The holiday feast pack, which is basically Thanksgiving dinner, is 25% off. Spinach is 30%, banana slices 25%, red bell peppers 25%, instant black beans 30%, mashed potatoes 25%. Don't buy the mashed potatoes. You're better off buying individual servings at your local grocery store. You can get the I think it's Pillsbury or Ore-Ida packages of mashed potatoes. Just get those. They're just as good. They'll last almost as long. Smaller servings. Here, when you open the can, you've got to use it in 6 months. There, when you open the package, it's one serving. Mix it, eat it. Diced chicken is on sale, 30% off. I went too far with my cursor. Come on. There we go. Blueberries are 25% off. Ground beef is 25% off. So the beef is 25, chicken's 30. Pepper jack cheese is 25% off, and instant milk is 50% off. I will tell you also, my preference as far as the best value for the dollar is the Lone Latter-day Saints has powdered milk that's, in my opinion, the same taste, the same quality for a cheaper price. I also think that you can get Nido Fortificado at your local grocery store. The taste is almost as good. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not as good as LDS or Thrive Life, but it is drinkable, and it's going to save you a significant amount of money. Walmart has their own shelf brand of freeze-dried or powdered milk, and it's great for what it is. It's very inexpensive, has a very limited shelf life, only about 2 years in the box. So, that's kind of some of the things that I would recommend for you. But, consider getting your meats canned for sure. And if not, you get some of the freeze-dried meats. That's okay. Make sure you get some powdered eggs. Now, there's two different kinds of powdered eggs. There's the whole eggs. So those can be used for baking. So if you're going to do something like a Krusteaz pie or a Krusteaz uh, cake, and it says mix 1 egg and 1 cup of oil. This is the egg that you want to use for something like that, the whole egg powder. Okay, now when it says scrambled egg powder, the scrambled egg powder can come in one of two forms. One form is, and this is what Thrive Life sells, is it is raw eggs. It's not cooked. So you're going to add, but whatever you do, it's going to be scrambled. Okay, so you're going to mix 1 tablespoon of water to 1 tablespoon of egg powder, and you've got 1 egg. Okay. On the other hand, you've got like nutrient survival, the stuff I have right here. That's all cooked and then freeze dried and powdered. Okay. So all you have to do is add hot water to it, let it rehydrate, and you have powdered eggs. That's the same thing with Mountain House, the same way that they do theirs. So basically, there's 3 different kinds of eggs: the whole egg, the scrambled egg pre-cooked, and the scrambled egg raw. So make sure you get all 3 of those for your prepping needs. And I think with that pretty much covers it for this evening. Let me go through and see if there's any questions or comments or anything like that, and see where we are. That was the whole, Simon. That was the whole thought process behind adding the Tabasco sauce to the MREs. Was that there were guys in Vietnam that made their sea rations taste better with Tabasco sauce. And so, that became a thing in the Army as of about 1967 or so, that any MRE, any sea ration is palatable with hot sauce. Now, there's another one. When I was in Germany, and I would have liquid smoke sent to me, because liquid smoke, just a little drop of liquid smoke, and it tastes like barbecue. So, I like liquid smoke. Other people like Tabasco sauce. I like red hot chili sauce. So, there are different things that'll definitely spice it up. You want to beware, which reminds me, you want to beware of food fatigue. Okay, so I know for most of the civilians, food fatigue is going to be a very real thing. You're going to get tired of eating the same thing over and over and over again. That's just the way it is. You would like to have a variety. Plan a variety of foods in your food plan. And so one of the things, that's why we had Tabasco sauce and liquid smoke and stuff like that with the MREs. Now, most of the sea rations, we had basically canned spaghetti, just like SpaghettiOs. We had a beef portion. We had beanie weenies. Now, beanie weenies was okay. We had eggs chopped with ham, which was basically scrambled eggs with ham in it. It was a small can. And then we cooked that up, and it was okay, but not great. But the one that I liked the most was tuna. It was just a small can of tuna with crackers, and that was a slightly different color box, more of a brownish color than the other ones, which were kind of a sand color. Even when the first sergeant flipped that box upside down, the case upside down, so that nobody could see what they were grabbing, and then you grab a meal. So we were eating 2 or 3 of those a day. I would say that for a period of 6 months, I probably ate tuna 2 meals a day for 6 months, and it didn't bother me. That was my choice. I preferred that. And then beanie weenies, of course, would be a great alternative, or SpaghettiOs. But there were some of them I just did not like at all. There was lima beans with ham. That was okay, but I did not want to get the eggs. I did not care for the eggs at all. But let me see. I vacuum seal my ramen as I buy it. I think you've seen that in some of my haul videos. Catch up here. Okay, there is a seed bank in the Arctic where super cold temperatures are a regular thing, and that's where the seed vault, in case of catastrophic failure of the Earth, that's where they're keeping all those seeds. Let me see. Oh, Holly, we'll have to talk about that. Maybe you can teach me how to. That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. Thank you. I appreciate that. Aldo, welcome. Good to see you. No, I didn't. I didn't pay attention to that. Um, I just know that I think they were Del Monte. I bought them by the case or box, whatever, at Sam's Club. So that's where I got them. So whatever comes from Sam's Club is what the Del Monte Mandarin oranges. Now when I get them, I have not had the same problems if they are in jars. Glass jars are okay. But I don't like storing glass jars because I've had shelving units fail. And in a can, the dented can's okay. Broken glass jar all over my floor is going to be something different. Oh, Holly Ivan says she's had pineapple do the same thing. I can see that. Pineapple is also relatively acidic. So Gray Man, or Gil, is recommending that there are 2 books on meat processing by Adam Danforth, Butchering Beef. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. I'll put that in the notes tomorrow morning for you all to get. Adam Danforth. Okay, I'll put those in the notes tomorrow morning with links so you can get those if you're looking for something like that. Butchering poultry, rabbit, lamb, goat, pork. Yeah, great. I think people need that. Thank you for sharing that, Gil. Great knowledge. Thank you. Gosh, a lot of great comments in here. I love you all. Soups, in my personal opinion, the vast majority of what we eat is going to end up being soups, stews, and chowders. We're going to go back basically to what they did in Europe in the Middle Ages and what most of the cowboys preferred. Now, the next thing that he talks about that we can probably touch on very quickly is preparing those foods. So one of the things that I make sure you have an oven of some sort, Dutch oven, Sun oven, a Coleman oven, whatever. You're going to need something to bake bread if you want bread. Okay. The other thing that I recommend that you have is a can cooker, which is basically a campfire pressure cooker. Okay. And I'll have a link for it in the show notes as well. That's going to greatly reduce the amount of time you have to cook things, which saves in your fuel. I think there's only so many fences we can tear down, and most of the wood is going to require that you process it, dry it out for at least. So if you go out front and cut your tree down, you can't burn that wood for 6 months, or else it's going to be just hellacious smoke. You're going to get more smoke than anything else. It's too wet inside. You want to cure that for at least 6 months before you burn it. And I don't think most people have taken that into account. So, you're going to be taking fences down and things like that and furniture. Read what happened to Soko Begovic in Bosnia. And that's what they were doing. They were burning furniture and fences because they didn't have enough wood pre-cured to use for cooking. Sardines are fantastic. Make sure you get those. Tuna, absolutely. Canned shrimp, canned clams, canned oysters, herring. All those are fantastic. Salmon is exceptional as far as calories, as far as proteins. A lot of great things. I think salmon's probably one of the best investments that you can have. That's a good question. I'd like to see the answer to that too. I don't know. Yes, LDS is just fantastic. They're phenomenal to deal with. They are into helping you survive, not in making a living. Okay. So strongly recommend that. You can also get, Aldi has breads in a can. You can get canned breads if you're interested in breads. You can get the MRE breads, 12 packages of tortillas, 12 packages of flatbread, 12 packages, cornbread. All the different breads that come as accessories to the MREs are available in bulk quantities as well. So, consider those. Okay. I think I wish I could get everybody's comments, but I think we're getting close to the end. Finn59 Shaw, welcome. Good to see you. Okay, I think that's it for the evening. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit about preparing food, some menus, ideas that you can use for long term, as well as we're going to get into water processing. So we're going to talk next week about basically water and preparing your foods. I do need a decision from you, though. How many of you would like to have next Tuesday canceled so you can watch the debate? And would you rather watch the debate, or would you rather have another session of this book, which is what we will be scheduled to do? We're going to do this one tomorrow night, but we also have to decide whether we want to do it a week from tomorrow night or not. So I'm going to wait and let you give me that answer tomorrow night when we're talking about this book. I also have to tell you that starting October 1st, I'm going to have to move the Tuesday night book club to a different night. And I'm thinking probably Wednesday night. I know that there are some of you that may interfere with your church, but I begin teaching a 16-week class through our resource center, helping people who have extreme financial difficulties get out of those financial difficulties and live a better life. So that's a 16-week class, and I'm one of the two primary instructors for that. So I won't be able to do it on Tuesday evenings starting October 1st. I can't do Thursday evenings because the first Thursday of each month, I have the Ham Radio Club. And then the second Thursday of each month is ARIES, which is the Amateur Radio Emergency Services Group. We meet at the County Emergency Services Center. So the only night that I have open is the third and fourth Thursdays of the month. And the fourth Thursday of the month, we do our fiction book. So I'm thinking that probably what we'll have to do is go with Monday, Wednesday instead of Monday, Tuesday. So, but we'll make that decision tomorrow. What I do need is I'm not that interested in debate, to be honest with you. So I'll wait and see what you see. I see no debate. I will not watch the debate. You decide if you want to watch it. Well, I don't want to watch. So I feel dumber after I watch a debate. Absolutely. I am right. Okay. We'll forget the debate and we'll just continue on. We'll continue with vigor, pursue with vigor, kick bottom and take names and just keep on doing on what we do on. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being so kind, polite, and respectful to each other. Remember that we're all in this together so we can come out the other side together. Numbers 6, verses 24, 25, and 26. The Lord be with you and bless you. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you. The Lord be gracious to you, and the Lord look upon you kindly and grant you peace. So please pray for peace. We are on the verge of cataclysmic failure, and I would much rather that all of our planning is futile and it just proves that we didn't need it rather than to have it. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being kind, polite, and respectful to each other. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.